Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. I'm so excited to welcome you to hear about me and how I've built the consulting nest and really share with you the truth, the triumphs, tribulations, the failures, the wins, the good times, the bad times, and the ugly as well. And if you're really interested in learning more and staying up to date, please subscribe to our newsletter where I'll send out a newsletter every time a new episode drops. You can also follow us on YouTube by subscribing and also following me on LinkedIn at Angeza Mohammed. I can't wait to hear more from you. I am taking suggestions on podcast episodes, questions you might have. I will probably do a question and answer episode soon once I get a couple of these episodes out to give you some background. And then I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you want to learn about. I will be doing these episodes live in real time just to share with you the true sort of stuff that I'm going through in real time so that you know you're not alone in this journey if you're an entrepreneur or even if you're thinking of becoming an entrepreneur and trying to understand if you could balance all the different things that you do in your life. I do want this to be a motivational podcast for you. I want you to be able to ask questions. I want you to be able to really have this be a place where you can learn more from my journey. I'm just one person. There are other people that do entrepreneurial journeys, but I really wanted to motivate you with the journey that I've been on because it's unconventional. I'm not your, multimillionaire entrepreneur. I don't have a network that can fund my business. I am a mom of two. I'm married, and we come from humble beginnings, and it's just this journey I'm on, and I want to share it with you so that you know that it is possible for those of you that don't think you have what it takes, or you don't have the network, or you don't have the finances, or the knowledge, or whatnot. I just want to let you know that I had no idea what an entrepreneur was. I had no idea about business. Just want to share with you my journey along the way and how I learn as I go. So let's get started. So last episode, I talked about sort of setting the foundation and the frameworks for the consulting nest, and how I built the marketplace. I built the marketplace and the website. And so now is the really exciting stuff. So from October of 2021 until April of 2022, I really wanted to learn how to do sales. Sales was something that's always scared me. I've always stayed away from sales. I've always said I hated sales. Now, though, I do love it. It took a lot of learning and hearing from my mentor, Jason, and going through the whole process of really understanding what sales is, what's a sales cycle, what's a funnel, um, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll say that to begin, for me to learn, I have to learn through reading, so and studying and doing. Um, I did read a book called To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink, and it really is a great book to kind of get you in the framework of what selling is. It's not this thing or I had this misconstrued idea of what it was, but it's not. We all do selling all the time. We always share our recommendations. We ask people, or recommend people to buy different things for different reasons. We give suggestions. We're all doing sales all the time. It's just a matter of understanding that we're all doing sales at all the time. And so when you're building a business to do sales and business, it's really no different. Um, it's just about you doing sales for your own business and learning how you want to do that. What's the messaging you want to do? Who do you want to connect with? Um, and who would this do really well with? And so that's what I did in my first 6 months from launch to from October to April, which was launch. I did is I ran a beta test. So what do you mean? What I mean by a beta test? Actually, I did a beta test over the whole year of 2022, essentially. Um, but in the first 6 months, that meant for me to do outreach. I had no inbound sales, so I didn't have people really coming to me. It was me going out to people because it was a brand new service. It was a brand new way of working with consultants in the public health world. And if you know government or healthcare, you know that we kind of tend to do the same things over and over. So this was a brand new approach. And so what I did in those first 6 months is I kind of laid out what I wanted to say to people. I did a part sort of informational sessions with folks, a part sales sessions. So I actually ended up putting a hiring, I actually hired a virtual assistant, and I had her kind of run. lead lists for me. And what lead lists are is if you go on LinkedIn, you can create a LinkedIn tool called Sales Navigator, which is like another sort of portal to LinkedIn. And what it does is you can set parameters to help create a list based on the parameters. So my parameters were I wanted to connect with consultants that were in public health that had 2 to 5 years of experience and had at least a master's degree. And we're in Canada at the time. So what that meant is that I plugged that all in, I had the VA plug that all into Link Sales Navigator. And she then had these lead lists that would come out sort of once a week. And what I then wanted her to do is I wanted her to like kind of go through the lead list, make sure that these were people that were meeting the criteria of who I wanted to connect with in terms of consultants. We ran the exact same lead list with organizations. So I wanted to connect with any organization in government, healthcare, nonprofits, academia as well, and research. And I wanted to make sure that they were sort of decision makers, so a manager and above. I wanted, um, yeah, I really that was only parameters manager and above, and it had to be within those organizations. Um, and from there, she would put these lead lists together. I then downloaded another tool called Sales Flow, which is an automation tool that links in with LinkedIn that Jason had shared with, or not Jason, sorry, my cousin's husband had shared with me. And then it would funnel into Salesflow. In Salesflow, I created different scripts, which are messages that could be set out automatically since I was just doing this all on my own with the VA support. And what that meant is that it would send connection requests, and then it would send a series of, I think it was up to 3 messages. If anyone responded to a message, then it would stop the sequence, and it was then up to me or the VA to then send a message back to them. And I was funneling everyone into a phone call with me. So I wanted people to connect with me on a phone call, so I can learn more about them, learn more about their pain points, validate some of the assumptions that I was having around building the consulting nest. And that's really important is for you to validate your assumptions. I knew the pain points because I personally experienced them as a consultant, but it's important that other people tell you the same thing without you sort of so I didn't tell people like, you must be feeling this pain point. I would ask a question like, what are you experiencing in terms of challenges in consulting? And then I wanted them to tell me in their own words what the pain point was, even though I may already know it. Um, and yeah, so that was sort of what I wanted people to do is have a phone call with me because I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to learn what was going on in their world, how they find on the consultant side. I wanted to learn about how do you find opportunities, what's holding you back from becoming a consultant, or if you are a consultant, how is that going for you? I wanted to know if I built something like this, would just this be of interest to you? Sort of what are you looking for in terms of a marketplace or support, mentorship, guidance? And on the organization side, it would be this a very similar thing, but it was more around how are you hiring consultants? Are you hiring consultants? Well, how does that look like? How often are you doing that? How are you finding consultants? Is that approach working for you, not working for you? And then sharing with them what the consulting nest was and how the consulting nest can really help them tap into a broader talent network of consultants. And I talked to over 2,500 consultants and organizations throughout that year. So this is going like October of 2021 to like about December of 2022. I did have the VA do a lot of sort of data analytics for me of like kind of like how many people were messaging, how many people were responding, how many calls were being booked, and those sort of things. Um, and that was how I ran my beta test. In the actual beta test, though, I was successful in actually turning over a profit, which I was really excited about in our first sort of 6 months, which is really unheard of a marketplace. A marketplace in general is one of the most difficult businesses you can build because you're really talking to 2 different people and you're trying to connect 2 different sides of the marketplace, and mine was a 2-sided marketplace. So I needed to connect with organizations as well as consultants, and I needed them to then connect. The monetization framework that I had at the time was that there was going to be a monthly membership fee for consultants. Organizations could join for free. But if they were to hire a consultant through the marketplace, there would be a transactional fee for that, that would show up in the proposals from the consultants. I had about 25 consultants on there, and I think about 30 organizations, and I wanted to keep it small and manageable. And of those, there was about 11 contracts that were completed. Some were very small, like about $2,000 or $3,000. Some were a little bit bigger. They were like ten to $12,000, and they were for a longer period of time of 3 to 4 months. Some were just really quick 2 to 4 week projects. So there was a bit of a variety. I then, through that and through the traction that I had on LinkedIn, through connecting with people, letting people know and putting it out there, I did have people start reaching out to me to expand into graphic design and expand into language translations and other areas of work. And at the time, I just didn't want to expand too fast, too quick. I did want to keep it very niche to public health. I had evaluators, public health evaluation specialists. I did have a environmental health officer on there, which was awesome for those that are building food-based businesses or restaurants, or who kind of wanted to understand more around health inspection, how they can make sure they comply. I did have people that were focused on program strategy, strategic planning, facilitation, more content experts in food and nutrition as well, or in health equity and building those frameworks. Many, many different folks. And it was across the country, and I was really excited to see that traction happening. And in February of 2022, I did join the League of Innovators Labs program. If you don't know about the League of Innovators and you want to be an entrepreneur, I highly recommend you to check them out. If you are already an entrepreneur and kind of are looking for that community and the network, I also recommend you to join them. They have a number of programs you could join. The Labs program is incredible. They have a foundations program, I believe, as well for earlier entrepreneurs. But in the Labs program, you meet weekly, multiple times a week, and you learn everything from A to Z around business. You build a community. You get to hear from founders. You get to hear from entrepreneurs. You get to hear from Ryan Holmes, who's the founder of Hootsuite and also League of Innovators. And it was just an incredible 3 month journey. It was an accelerator, so it was intense. It was a lot of work, but it was incredible. It was like a fast-paced crash course, MBA in entrepreneurship, and I loved it. I learned so much from it. I built a great community from it, and I still connect with the community on Slack all the time. I see their messages. I am a part of another program that they have now. Um, and through that program, I was able to learn more about investors, investing, about building a pitch deck, about data rooms, which are like sort of a place where you host all your documents if you were looking to invest. I don't invest. This business is bootstrapped. I have funded everything myself. I've also taken the profits of the company and reinvested them into the company. So um, I'm all in with the company, and I don't intend to have investors for a little while. I want to build more traction, and be sort of in control of the avenue of which way we're going. Um, and so yeah, it was incredible. And also I did in about May of 2022, we're going a little ahead now. I did end things with the current VA that I had. I just didn't. I just had some questions around the work they were doing, the honesty of the data, and that's really important to me that the data is truthful. Um, there was times where I knew that they outsourced some of the work that I was asking, and I was really worried from a security perspective because I don't share my passwords and stuff like that lightly, and I didn't want them to share passwords and stuff lightly either. And I just had a gut feeling that I needed to kind of end the contract, and that's the other thing with being an entrepreneur is that you have to make difficult decisions. I knew she was doing a lot of work. I knew I needed her to be an extra hand, and she had helped me so much with so much traction and putting things together. But in the same token, I just started not trusting the quality of the work. And because it was reflecting me and my business, I really had to make the decision to end things with her. And it was awful because now I meant I had to do everything again on my own, and it was difficult. But it was what I needed to do. So that was my first real challenging experience because I was paying her and I was worried about the quality of the work that I was getting and also the security aspect. Like, I just didn't want everyone reviewing, getting into my accounts and looking at things. And sometimes there was times where the person that they outsource would message people that have already said no, thank you. And if someone says no, thank you to me, I don't go back. Because I don't want to pester them. I don't want to bother them. If it's not for them, it's not for them. They'll come around when it's for them, but I don't want to push it with folks that are not interested. Um, And so, yeah, so that was really the first challenge. Also, at the very end of April, I ended up getting COVID. So that kind of wiped me out for about a week and a half. But I felt like I felt like I was back in sort of high school where I was locked into my room and just on my laptop, had my food on I did everything on my bed and inside my room. And, I really had time to reflect. I watched the Elizabeth Holmes documentary, and I realized that what you present to investors, to me, has to be morally and ethically truthful. And I realize that there's a lot of people out there that don't present truthful information as entrepreneurs. They may inflate what they're doing, they may inflate who they are, the success that they're having, and may have a lot of a PR strategy to make themselves look good, but in reality, it's a different story. And I sort of made a promise to myself that I would never do that. I would be an honest and truthful business person, whether that takes means that it takes me much longer to get to the place I want to go, um, or it doesn't open me up to opportunities that are the same as others. It really didn't matter to me. I just wanted to make sure that I was staying truthful to myself, um, and that was really important to me. So. That's what I did between October 2021 to April 2022 is I ran my beta test, and I continued that for the year. It was the first 6 months of it. I was profitable in the beta test, and I got to make great connections. I joined the League of Innovators Labs program where I learned a lot about entrepreneurship, and I do recommend that for you. If you have questions about it, send me a message. Happy to connect you with one of the folks over there that can help answer some of those questions. I hired my first VA. I worked with them really closely, but I also then fired them. And it was a challenge. If you're experiencing that, let me know and let's connect about that because I would love to hear your perspectives and sort of what you've been through. Or if you're considering firing or you have questions or your gut feeling is telling you something, let's connect around that. And then all the outreach that I did, it was awesome to talk to people across Canada to hear that this is an issue. This is something that's needed. Um, and that they are considering, looking into it and being a part of it. And definitely had some champions, had some incredible people who offered mentorship and support. It was an exciting journey to be a part of. So that's the end of this episode. Next episode, I'm going to talk more about our beta test from May of 2022 until the end of December. I'm going to talk more about our outreach sales. I had a couple new VAs, which was another journey, and it was not good. So stay tuned to hear about that. And then I'm going to share a little news with you about what kind of happened to me at the end of later into 2022. If you're interested to hear more about this podcast, please subscribe to help us be successful. Follow me on LinkedIn at Angeza Mohammed and subscribe to us on YouTube as well as all podcast channels that you listen to. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.